All right, so we covered how to import assets from the asset store, so you can start to build out your scenes as we get into environment art and stuff. In this video, we're going to take a look at working on player movement. Okay, so the thing is, before we get into player movement, I wanted to show you some other cool stuff. I just Googled like character sprite sheet, and there's sites like this, which are like Open Game Art or this retro character thing. As you go through, a lot of these guys, they'll say free for commercial use, just like the Unity Asset Store. So if there's another character that you want, like this guy or whatever, feel free to like grab it. I think that's pretty cool. But what you really want to make sure, and I'm going to show you how to edit this. Like I found this guy, and this is again the same thing, retro character sprite sheet. This is an open source sheet that they had out there that this person did. But you can take this into Photoshop, and like I said, you can edit it enough where it becomes your own character. So for example, like we can duplicate this sprite sheet, and you can do this in Krita or whatever. But let's say we want to give them like punk rock hair. So I'm going to hit G or Shift G to get my paint bucket, and I can just go in and just paint this character, his hair like pink. You can just go in there and have fun, and then you can import that in to Unity. Another way of doing it is I'm going to jump over to Unity, and um, actually, let's just go ahead and yeah, let me show you something else. So I have this saved on my desktop, and we'll do it as a, let's see, let's get rid of this. So if I do Control Alt S, you can see I have some art assets from previous tutorials, but and it's on my desktop, and you can see here is this the character sprite sheet here. So let me jump over to Unity. So what I can do inside of here is in my scenes folder, or here Undead Survivor. This is that folder that they had. I can make another folder here and just call it art if you want to distinguish it from the assets you downloaded. And then inside of this, I can create another folder, and I'll just call this PC for playable character. And then I'll create another folder inside of here and just call this player. This will be all your player models. And what I'm going to do is, if you're a student following along in my class, which really that's the only people who this is going to be open to, inside of here, we're going to go to create. We're going to go to import new asset. I'm going to navigate to my desktop here, and I'm just going to grab that character. And I want to show you this process too, because if you download assets from the asset store, sometimes they're already set up or they're set up weird. So it's good, you should know how to do that from the get-go. So what I'm going to do is, with this one selected, I'm going to go to single here. I'm going to turn it to multiple, and I'm going to scroll down, and don't forget to hit apply. Now inside of this, you'll notice that it's just called a sprite sheet. But if you look at the Undead Survivor art assets, like here's sprites, when you expand them, they're broken up into different pieces, like dead, hit, run, all that good stuff. And ours isn't doing that. So how do you do that? Well, you go into the sprite editor here, and with it now open, and you can maximize it by pressing this button in the top corner here. You can see that it registers the size of the width and the height. That's what this is here. Now, if I look at this, I think I generally want this to be about 400 by 562, maybe a little bit lower. Now, I could go in and just keep drawing these like this, but the other way I like to do it, and the reason why I called out that 400 by 562 for this cell size, is because you can go to slice here, and you can go to grid by cell size, and you can start typing in the values of 400, and then here's like 601. And what it'll do is it'll cut them a little bit evenly. See that? Let me actually delete this out. But grid by, select it, and you'll see it pop up. And as long as your images are laid out evenly, and that's what I was saying, it's kind of good to find something online. Actually, I need to go a little bit higher on the y-axis because I'm losing these guys down here. All right, so the values that I found that worked best were 400 by 596. And then with a little bit of a padding on the Y, about 2, to give me, it kind of pushes it down to the bottom there. And then what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and hit slice. And then I'll hit apply. Now you could see that it broke these up into different images. And down here, because this is my walk down row, this is my walk up, walk left, and walk right. What I can do is I can change this to player underscore walk underscore down underscore 01. And I'm going to hit Control A to copy that. And I'll just go to this next one, paste it, 02. So make sure to name each image correctly and give it a frame number at the end of the file name. This will help us later when we lay them out in our animation timeline. Also, I'm going to speed up the video at this point so I don't bore you to death watching me rename things. All right, so you can see this whole row has been renamed. Walk up row, walk left, and walk right. All the way through, and don't forget to hit apply. And when we go back into the scene now, you can see that it's saved all of those different animations, and they're named and broken up correctly. So, and you can also kind of like press the down arrow and cycle through these, and you can see them working in action. And again, if you don't like this character, what's pretty cool is if you double click it, you can see that it opens this sprite sheet here. Or I can right click on it and do show and explore. And I can right click and I can do open with, and I can just select, let's see, Photoshop or Krita or whatever you use. And I can say, you know what, this particular character, I want to give him red hair. It matches his shirt too much, so it might not be a great idea, but let's give him orange hair. And I'll show you what the neat part about this is. If I hit Control S now, and I jump back into Unity, you can see his hair is updated, and every one of them is updated too. So you can go back in and you can edit these characters. All right. In the next video, we'll start looking at the animations.